one has to do with the writer's strike and its impact on the MCU. Check it out.
Hey, John, it's Jonathan from Oklahoma City. The writer's strike got me wondering a few things. How will that affect the future slate of movies, including the Phase 5 and 6 of MCU, the new DCEU? And how will it affect writers and directors like James Gunn, who write and direct a movie like Superman, since they'll probably be doing revisions while they shoot, and just movies in general that have already been written but haven't begun shooting? So just curious to hear your thoughts. Appreciate it. Bye.
All right. Thanks a lot for calling that in, Jonathan. And first of all, let's start with the second part of your question there, because this is something that actually also came up in one of the open mics we did the other day about how does this impact something like a Superman legacy movie, the writer's strike? Because the studio head, James Gunn, who is also the director of the movie and is also the writer of the movie, how will this writer's strike, because James Gunn, by the way, is a member of the WGA. He's a union member of the Writers Guild of America. So how will this impact something like Superman Legacy? Well, in the case of Superman Legacy, number one, the script is finished. Now, that doesn't mean that there couldn't be more revisions come later and all that kind of stuff. But remember, they don't start shooting this movie. This movie is scheduled to come out until 2025, and they don't start shooting this movie, I believe, until early 2024. So, I mean, there's a long time. I'm sure, I think even the most pessimistic person believes that by January 1st of 2024, this writer strike thing will be finished. So at least, we can hope. So the script is supposedly written, but make no mistake about it. As of today, James Gunn cannot work on that Superman Legacy script anymore. He's a member of the union. The union is on strike. He cannot write another page. Well, I'm sure James could sneak away into his private. I mean, yeah, he could, but James has always been a very vocal supporter of the WGA. He and his union has called for him to cease writing work. He's not going to write another page. Now, again, that's not as dire of a situation as it may sound, because they're a long way off from even starting production on this movie. I have no doubt this dispute will be resolved before that. But that's that movie. What about Marvel? Because right now, Marvel is in the midst of developing a lot of projects. From things like, we just found out that the Blade movie is supposed to start shooting at the end of this month. They just hired a new writer. We ain't writing right now. So what does that mean for the production start date for the end of the month? I'm not sure. I'm not sure that they can even start shooting Blade, or maybe they can start shooting with the pages that they have done. And I don't know. They can roll the dice there, and then having to risk stop production halfway through. I mean, I just don't know. But that's not even the biggest problem. Something like that. That's the most immediate problem, something like Blade. But what about all these movies like Kang Dynasty or Secret Wars or I don't know, what's some other ones that we got coming up? What's that? Thunderbolts, which they're still writing. What about all these other movies that they are in heavy development on right now? Guess what? Writers' rooms are now dark and no progress is being made. And here's the thing. If you know anything about the movie business, schedules are life and breath and air. Schedules are so key and important. And we've seen what has happened. When one project gets the slightest bump, all of a sudden we're finding out in a few weeks that an entire studio's other lineups are having to move everything around. Schedules are really tight. And with all the writers' rooms right now having to go dark and no work can be done, if this thing, again, I said it before, I'll say it again. If this thing can be solved in the next week or two, I think everything's fine. But this thing stretches out longer than that, which it very well probably will. This is going to start throwing a lot of schedules out of whack, and it's going to start delaying a lot of things. And you're going to see release dates having to get moved because, well, we can't even plan starting shooting because we don't even have finished scripts at this point. And by the way, the same is true for DC. Hey, it's all well and good that Superman Legacy script is written. That's your chapter 1 of this brand new DC universe. So that thing had to get finished first. But they've got a number of other projects that they've already announced that they probably had active writers working on stuff. And now those rooms are dark too. So it ain't just Marvel that's going to be impacted. And by the way, It is not just the genre of comic book movies. This is playing out across every studio across the business right now. But if we're going to ask and talk specifically about Marvel, yeah, this is affecting Marvel maybe more immediately than anybody else because they're supposed to be shooting this Blade movie. Anyway, Chris, we're now moving from the theoretical problems of the writer strike to now the practical. We're literally now seeing work not being done. We're talking about a movie in Blade that's supposed to start shooting here soon that may or may not actually start shooting, depending on how much is done before they brought in this new writer who can't write right now. How big of an impact do you see this may be having? Short term, long term? What do you think?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, the original strike that we all dealt with, right, in 2007 lasted for 3 months.
Yeah.
It put a big dent in the entertainment industry. Maybe you all remember a little film called Quantum of Solace, right?
Oh, yeah.
Something that was in production when the strike happened. It's probably my least favorite of the Daniel Craig Bond films. I think a lot of people would agree with that. Maybe not. But
I do. Yeah, I agree.
On that set, they could not have a writer. Now, some of you might be asking, well, of course not. The script's already written. What about punch-ups? What about changes? You know who did those punch-ups? Daniel Craig. He's a great actor, but maybe shouldn't be writing for Bond. So when you have things in production for Marvel, too, like Daredevil Born Again, like Wonder Man, no one is on set making those adjustments. No one can, except for the actors who are still filming at the time. Maybe some of the other people on there. And maybe we might get some really great moments too, right? A lot of times actors improvise lines and we go, oh my gosh, that's even better what we had on the page. Let's go with that. But when you realize certain things aren't working, there's not as much cohesion to your story, there's certain relationships that just aren't firing on all cylinders, that's when you need a writer. Not just before you even get to set, but while you're there to make sure everything is going smoothly.
Well, I mean, to your point, the Russo brothers talked about when Infinity War and Endgame were shooting, it was McFeely and I forget the name of the other writer, but they always had their writers on set. Mm-hmm. They were there just in case, right? Like they had completed scripts, but just in case they had them there for when changes had made, if they wanted to deviate or make a change or all that kind of stuff. But yeah, even the stuff that's in production, it could have an impact.
Yeah, so the things that are being made currently, not just the next phase of things, not just those pre-production things, we are going to see this trickle throughout. So the ramifications of this strike are pretty monumental to the industry.
All right, guys, question is for you. How scary is this if you're a fan of the genre? That while we may not, listen, if they can settle this thing quickly, it may all be smooth. But every day that passes, we're talking about big projects that a lot of us are excited about and looking forward to are going to get impacted more and more and more. How big of a deal do you see it as? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. We want to thank a sponsor of this video, Mint Mobile. From the gas pump to the grocery store, your utility bills and favorite streaming services, inflation is everywhere. Seriously, make it stop. Thankfully, there's one company out there that's giving you a much needed break. It's Mint Mobile. As the first company to sell premium wireless service online only, Mint Mobile lets you order from home and save a ton with phone plans starting at just $15 a month. You guys know that ever since I switched to Mint Mobile, I've been saving almost 70% a month over my old phone plan. For people looking for extra savings this year, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. By going online only and eliminating the traditional cost of retail, Mint Mobile passes the significant savings on to you. All of their plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all your existing contacts. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea.